Hi there. So I wanted to focus today on the endings that are happening, the completion energies, which will be heightened right now because we moved into Pisces season on the 18th of February. So the energies have sort of softened and gone into the more introverted water sign of Pisces. And Pisces is the end of the zodiac wheel. So wherever you have that in your natal chart will be where endings can quite often be occurring, and it's a part of your chart where you need compassion, and the area of your chart where whatever planets you have, if you have any planets in Pisces, will be sort of possibly quite dreamy, imaginative, and will function in that way. And there's more to it than that. So when we think about Pisces, it's two fish. It's a duality, which means all signs have a duality, but they often swim in two different directions. So there's often a yes and a no involved with Pisces, which can be quite confusing. And Pisces has a boundaryless energy to it because it's ruled by the planet of Neptune. And it is a divine energy that can connect us to the cosmic and much wider energies in the galaxy. And we feel these energies in areas of our life depending on what rising sign we have, depending on what sign it is in our natal chart that the sun was rising in the east. So you can find out what area of life Pisces falls in for you. Now, the reason I'm talking about so much about Pisces isn't just because the sun is there now, which means that the spotlight is on everything Pisces related in your natal chart. It's also it'll affect you in personal ways, but it affects us all collectively as well. And we have got some really big changes occurring, and we're now in that big change. We were talking about moving into these big changes when Pluto was making its way from Capricorn into Aquarius. But that was just the beginning, really. The beginning of letting go of structures and traditions that perhaps weren't working anymore. And now Pluto is in Aquarius. It's highlighting more in our society, and Pluto is the truth teller and the truth finder. And lots can be revealed because Pluto is a detective. So that's going on in the background in Aquarius. And Aquarius is the sign before Pisces. So it's holding some of that Piscean energy, and perhaps we're not noticing it so much at the moment. But the focus is on the endings now, because we need to end things before we can begin things. So things are we're starting to see some of the things that we need to let go and perhaps move into forgiveness, which doesn't necessarily mean forgiving other people, but it could be actually forgiving the situation as it is, and therefore eventually getting to the people. But perhaps first it's forgiving yourself for whatever it is that has been holding you back, and I guess it's the suffering that has been holding us back. So where have we been suffering? And who have we been suffering for? So in order for us to get to the next level and start a new part of our cycle of evolution and growth within our natal charts, we've got to make those completions. And part of this completion process will also be in our lives where we've got to let go of the perfectionism or the over-rationalising, the left brain telling us that our intuition is wrong, or not believing our feelings. It could go as deep as gaslighting, or maybe even gaslighting ourselves out of our own feelings, which ultimately are the truth, because everybody's feelings are the truth. And I think that is what is highlighted in the Pisces season. And included in that is, of course, the upcoming eclipses. So the first eclipse is going to actually fall on the 14th of March. But we've still got some things to wrap up in February before that happens. And I'll have a look at my notes here. So we're the 21st. So today actually is an interesting day in that both Neptune, the planet that is helping us let go of these energies, it's actually in its home sign of Pisces, and it's been there since 2011 or 2012. So since 2011 and 2012, we have been exploring our more sort of perhaps our compassionate and spiritual and intuitive sides of ourselves. We've been delving into the more unseen things in our lives. And if you look back over the last 14 years or so, what have you been exploring? It's probable that you've been delving a little bit deeper into spiritual matters. And maybe not necessarily from a religious point of view, but maybe more from the meaning of things. What matters to you on a really meaningful level. It's less superficial, it's much deeper, and it's much more emotional as well. What things matter to you now that you didn't really think about before? Have you gone deeper into yourself? And again, depending on what your rising sign is, will depend on what area of life this is emphasized the most. It will have influences in all areas of your life, because the whole chart is connected. However, so Neptune is conjunct the North Node today, and will continue to be conjunct the North Node. Let's find out for how long. Not for that long, in the scheme of things. A couple of weeks, I think. I'm going to move on from that anyway. That's my perfectionism getting in the way. Looking at exact dates. You don't need to know the exact dates, do you? You just need to know the general energies that are going on. So the point is that we're moving forwards in our lives now, and the Pisces energies need to be completed so that we can move forwards into our divine path and purpose. And that is what the North Node does. When things make connection with the North Node, especially personal planets, it makes changes and it puts you on the right path. And that's what the nodes do. They put you on the right path. Obviously, there is an element of free will to this, which we could argue that the free will happened before you even came here, because according to astrology, depends on what you believe, You actually chose your birth chart. And when the planets travel round in transiting, they make these connections to your planets and that are there in your natal chart. They were there when you were born. It's like a photograph. Only the energy of that captured moment still resonates and vibrates within your DNA, within all your body, in your cells. And then when the planets go round, continue to move, they make other vibrations against your vibration in your planets, and they make a particular tune, if you like. And so it's a bit like your own personal orchestra, and every time these planets go round, they're refining the chart, they're refining your energies that you can work with. So the Pisces energies are helping us with that cycle, because it's the end point. Something's ending. Massive endings are happening. Personally and collectively, there's something happening, and there's going to be some really big beginnings. But before those beginnings can really go forwards, which is the Aries energies, we need to be coming to the final stages of things. And we're going to be going back and forwards a little bit, especially this year. So the last time will be the 23rd, yes, so it's just a couple of days left of the Neptune energies sitting right next to the North Node. So you might be feeling like there's really big releases happening, and you might be feeling really kind of like almost quantum moves forwards. You might be feeling, wow, like how did that happen? I was feeling this one minute, I had a good cry, and then the next minute I'm over here somewhere. Like, how did I get there? How did I get there? I never expected it to happen so soon. Well, it's fated, and you've probably been feeling the build-up. Let me know what you think. Let me know how it is for you, if you will, please, how you're experiencing this. And then on the 24th of February, we do still have Neptune conjunct the North Node, but it's sort of fading out. The strength of that is fading. More importantly, it's when Mars is going to be going direct. So quite a few of you might have been feeling really quite unsure about how you want to go about things, what you actually want. Your motivation might have felt less. You might have felt a bit scattered in your activity and your actions, and probably processing quite a lot emotionally about your sovereignty, your personal sovereignty, and how you want to put yourself out there and claim that individuality. And also your perhaps your family past and how that's been affecting you, how it has imprinted these energetic programs within you that have caused great suffering and pain. Now, it might not be as dramatic as what I'm making it sound, because we all have different things that we have to deal with in our lives. But certainly there's no getting away from the fact that our early environment affects us greatly, whether that be for good or not. We hope, from an optimistic level, certainly, that in astrology, we look at it as a growth opportunity, and that, as awful as the suffering is, it's actually part of a transformational process that we're going through, as long as we're allowing ourselves to do that. And there's so many healing modalities around now, isn't there? There's so much being talked about. Perhaps some of the older generations think that we've lost it and that we've gone soft. But actually, it's not that, is it? It's that we are becoming aware so much more, and it's not hidden anymore. And instead of quietly having to suffer alone, more and more people are coming out and saying how they feel about things. And to be fair, it's more the ability to do so is more so. So it's like there's a lot of water at the moment, which is emotional. There's a lot of water energy. It might force you to go back into your own personal private space in order to actually process a lot of these emotions. I don't think you're going to be able to outrun them at the moment. I think you're going to need to slow down. And any healing that you do, your loved ones around you will benefit from. Any time you take away for yourself and rest, anything you do that's positive for yourself is going to benefit the others around you. So just taking a few moments, first thing in the morning, maybe, at sort of certain points in the day, just to take some deep breaths and just be in the energy of whatever it is you're feeling. I don't know what stage you're at. And I don't mean stages as in better than stages, hierarchical shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your own personal stage where you are at in your healing journey. I don't know where you are because I'm not your counsellor or your therapist, or I'm not you. But one thing I do say is I want you to feel empowered. I want you to be your therapist. I want you to be the person that decides your fate. I want you to believe in your own power, because I know what it's like to have that taken away, or at least to feel that. Now, I don't know, maybe we've all been feeling like that, but it's time to take that back, and it starts from peacefully doing that from within. Certainly when we're talking about astrology and astrological, your own natal chart can act as clarity for you. And if anyone tries to tell you that they know better than you know about you, who you are, when's the best time to do this, that and the other, it doesn't matter what anybody says, because ultimately only you know the answer. You know when it's time to embark on a new project. I mean, you can go to an astrologer can say, hey, this is a great time energetically, but they can't tell you when is the best time for you. Only you can. There's going to be something in you, and this is the intuition. And this is what I'm saying about the Pisces energies. It's time now, because the nodes are now in Pisces, and they're going to be there for a year and a half. And it's about being more compassionate to ourselves and other people. But I would start with yourself, with less criticism of where you've come from, where you wish you could be going, and trying to just have a space of nothingness when we don't know. And I think part of that is the Pisces energy, is just that belief in that vastness of not knowing, that emptiness, so that new energy can then grow from that space of emptiness. And that's where the Aries energy comes in. So we're overlapping from heavy water energy, which is extremely introverted energy. And it's also quite magical as well. So you have to try and be grounded. So we want to integrate the Virgo energy, which is the opposite sign. We don't want to let it go completely. We're just letting go of the bits that don't really work in the Virgo energy. So criticizing too heavily. If you criticize other people a lot, the chances are you probably criticize yourself in secret. Or maybe you're not even aware the fact that your disapproval of others is coming from inside yourself, and you're just sort of projecting it out. I found myself doing that at home a little bit every now and then. And I catch myself and I go, ooh, where did that come from? And I think we've just got to forgive ourselves for some of the patterns that we have. It doesn't have to be massive. It can just be small things that we notice.